Hey everybody, today's video is gonna be a little different. I found out some infuriating information this past week about California and our mental health care system and mismanagement of money. But before we get into that, I want to remind all of you to subscribe. Are you new to my channel? Welcome! I put out videos on Mondays and Thursdays and you don't want to miss out, so make sure you turn on those notifications too. But let's get into this crazy topic. Like I said, I am furious. $17 billion. Yes, with a B. Remember that number because it's really important. Also, please stick around till the end of the video because I have something I want to ask you. But back to the $17 billion. Now let's talk about mental health care and California. In 2004, California voters such as myself passed Proposition 63, formerly known as the Mental Health Services Act. What this act did was it imposed a 1% tax on seven-figure incomes, and it was to be used to develop and expand mental health care services. Yay! These funds were supposed to be used to transform the state's public mental health care system, expand it, and revolutionize the existing system with a focus on promoting recovery-oriented programs. Could be really cool, right? Meaning that there should be more mental hospitals, improved training for mental health professionals like me, better community services, and more preventative care available for those who are suffering. But the truth about this is that none of that has been done. Since the proposition was passed back in 2004, the state of California has amassed a whopping $17 billion from this tax. And what have they done with all this money, you might ask? Absolutely nothing. They have been unable to provide any proof or hard evidence to show that they've spent the money on anything related to mental health. Now, obviously, I can't read every single article written on this topic, so if you have any evidence to show that they did spend some of this money on mental health services, I would love for you to leave the links and information in the comments. I'd love to be proven wrong here, you guys. The department itself was given 3 to 10 years to utilize these funds for better mental health care. And since much of the money has been sitting there for over 10 years, remember this was passed in 2004, they are set to release $231 million with an M of this money back to the state for reallocation, meaning spend it wherever the hell they want, not on mental health services. Now they had 3 to 10 years to use this money to improve our mental health services, and they didn't. So now the politicians can use the money for whatever they want. In essence, the people who work at the California Department of Healthcare Services are thieves. They stole from wealthy Californians in order to help themselves and do absolutely nothing for the mentally ill. You guys, I just can't even be any more upset about this. And the department, because this is such, jackassery, they've been under investigation and are being audited for their poor money management. But all of that going on isn't stopping them from releasing that $231 million of mental health funds. And who the hell knows what they do with the rest of the $16.7 roughly billion sitting in there, because each year they potentially are going to be allowed to release another chunk. I find what they're doing to be completely disgusting and so infuriating. We need to hold our people in office more accountable. I would encourage you to look up where the money in your county is going and make sure that when you vote in a new tax or law, that it's actually being used and upheld the way that they said it would. The mental health services we have around the world are lacking and in some cases completely non-existent. Many of you in other countries complain about the long waits, the lack of services, and the general failure of the system. I don't think it's due to lack of funds. I think it's due to complete mismanagement of the funds that are already in place. If our tax money is said to be going for our mental health care and treatment, I think these politicians should fucking prove it. I can't tell you how many mentally ill homeless people live here in Los Angeles. The numbers are staggering. And these are people who aren't getting the mental health services they need. And as someone who's in the mental health field, I feel like my hands are often tied. I struggle to come up with solutions to help those who need it. But guess what? They already had part of the solution. $17 billion. $17 billion. You know what I could do with $17 billion? You know how many professionals I could have hired? How many beds could have been opened up for those who may be feeling hopeless? Heck, we could even give free treatment for some eating disorders, addiction, self-injury, etc. We can and must do better. So my ask of you is this, that if you're as outraged as I am, would you please tweet to Jennifer Kent She is the one who's in charge of the California Department of Healthcare Services. Ask her what she plans to do with the $17 billion that they've accrued since 2004. Are there any big plans they have or new services that are going to go into effect? I would love to hear, because the thought of $231 million being released when so many are still suffering is just not acceptable. Also, find out who's in charge of your mental health care services. Reach out to them, hold them accountable, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who suffer. But our voices are powerful, and I believe that we can create a positive change. This video has been brought to you by the Kenyans on Patreon. If you would like to support the creation of these mental health videos, click the link in the description and check it out. Thanks for listening. Know that we're stronger together and our voices matter. Let's let them be heard. So I'll see you next time. Bye.